All right, just a simple thing today. Greek vases, good for your urns, good for your mythology project. Right now, we're working on quadruped and ZBrush. I'm doing a camel, but you could easily, do a sphinx or a harpy or statue, ornamental elements for your mythology project. Today I'm just going to show a simple vase because we haven't done lathing in a long time in here, so I just want to do a review on that. And sweeping. Lathing is for cylindrical shapes, and sweeping is for tube shapes, which could be like handles and stuff like that, and cylindrical shapes would be like jars and vases and glasses and bottles and things like that. So we're going to go to the right side here. We're going to use our drawing tool, the pen tool, and with a vase you just have to draw like half the profile, and if you want it to be solid, then you start on this green line, which is your y-axis, and when you draw with this tool, zoom in, you basically click and hold down and you drag it, just like Illustrator. You drag out handlebars when you hold down your mouse, okay? And when you want to change direction, you just click down and you can change direction. And then when you want it to be a curve, you have to hold down. And the further you drag that out, the more you're bending a line, which is bad because it gives you less control. And so if you wanted to do a line like that, then you would do an extra point in it to do that. Okay, I don't want to do that though. Alright, so if I want it to go curve and then straight, I just click and I don't drag out handlebars. Okay, curve and then click. Okay, let's zoom back out because I don't need to be that close. But the closer you do get while you're doing these type of things, the easier it gets. The closer you get to Y, the skinnier it gets. Now, I don't really think Greek vases have that kind of a skinny stem, but I'm going to do mine that way anyways. The thing is some people just like stop and they let it go, and then they have this paper thin model or lathe. If you want to have like realistic properties to it, especially if it's going to be transparent, then you want to draw on the thickness, which is what I'm doing. And then I want it to be closed off. Okay. Now, all this stuff is editable, so no one ever draws it perfect the first time. So you click on it, and you can like grab those points and move them around and alter the curvature and improve your overall quality of line. You can also, if you have too many points in there and they're like extra points, you can just hit delete and it'll reconnect to the next nearest point. Or if you go up to mesh spline, you have hard and soft interpolation. You can join segments together, you can break lines, join lines together. A lot of tools in here, but just for now, we'll go to hard interpolation. That converts it into an angle, so it no longer has those handlebars. So sometimes you draw those by mistake and you wish it had handlebars so you can bend it and curve it. You can. You could go to soft interpolation, and that creates handlebars, which you then could grab the black little handlebar ends, those little boxes, and push it around and bend it and alter it and so forth. Or, like I said, if there's too many in there. Now, usually you don't want to stretch out lines this far, but I'm kind of near the end. So, and then when you get there, you want to kind of, so like that, this would be like minutely open a crack if I don't line it up properly. And it's okay for the bottom to be thicker than the top, because that's typically the case for ceramics. And the better you work your line quality, the smoother it will be. Things like this tend to end up with sort of a crease that almost looks like a line in it. And so, you can lathe it and then see, like, how's that working? And then in your mesh tool, or your pen tool, you can go also adjust the line. And then you have a freehand one, you have a smooth tool which tries to smooth out bumpiness, but sometimes it may end up like, distorting it if you're not really clean. It's not perfect. Anyways, might as well. You could go to break segment, and it basically will eliminate the line between those two. I'll do it here too. Oh, I'm still on my iron tool. Let's go to mesh. Let's select a point, and then we'll go to mesh spline break segment, and that eliminates the line between the 2 points. And then what you can do is go to your pen tool, and you can reconnect to those lines and fix it all up. If you have separate lines, let's get off the pen tool, and you drew something separate, kind of screwing this all up, and you wanted to reconnect those, you can select 2 open ends of an open point. They can't be separate lines though, so what you do is you select everything. You can go select, deselect all, go select it. And then like get all your splines. I don't know, why do I have a cube here? You can take those 2 splines and do like conversion, connect plus delete, and then that gives you the ability to, you can weld points together, or you can go to spline and go to join segment. To join segment, you have to select 2 open points of the same line, and then you can go to spline, join segment, and that'll become a single line. Of course, I just mangled this, so I'm gonna go back and undo and put it back to the way it was, because I had it pretty nice. So, just take your time when you draw the lines, and you won't end up with garbage, basically is. And then take some time to clean it up. All right, so that's going to be my vase. So you can kind of get the idea. If you imagine a profile of a vase, silhouette, whatever, you slice it in 2, and then that's all you have to do. And when it lays it, it spins it around on this green line, the y-axis, like the axis of the Earth, and the Earth spins around on its axis. This will spin around and copy it on its axis as well. If you've ever done woodworking or lathing, it basically, you take a block of wood and you put it on a spinning rod, and you just hold like a tool to it, and you can make it round by the tool chopping it away. So that's why it's called lathing. So just to demonstrate that real quick before we make our handle, you make a lathe, you put your spline in the lathe, and then you can see it copy it, and you have a round object. And you can see like the little crease I was talking about on the base of the neck right there. It's really unforgiving of any sloppy lines. Shows up right away, so you have to be really clean. If we look at this with gouge shading and lines, you can see it copies the spline multiple times and spins it around. The cool thing with the lathe is that you can go to the lathe and you can alter the subdivision, and that means like that's what you see here, how many copies it's making and spinning it around and then skinning it. So I can enter like more to make it smoother. Or if you wanted to get like a round four-sided vase, you can say just 4 subdivisions and create like a really unique curvy object, like, you know, bedposts and, you know, poles and finials and fancy stuff like that. I'm gonna keep it round. I don't remember any Greek vases being 4-sided, but I mean, who knows? I'm not an expert in Greek vases. All right, so with that done, you know, turn off grouch shading and lines. And like I was saying, that crease there, you could turn off the lathe and go look at your spline, and I can see like that one right there probably doesn't have much of a handlebar, so I can kind of try to curve it a little bit wider, a little bit smoother, turn back on the lathe and see if I got rid of that, and I kind of did. Ta-da! All right, now how do we put handles on our vase for our decorative Greek god temple? Or if you were doing a big brazier, that's like, you know, for fire, or a cauldron, parts of a fountain. There's all kinds of reasons to do lathes. A fountain would be really good for some of the Greek mythology characters or other mythology, you know. You had to kind of match the architecture. I don't have it open. Let me see if I can open it. So you don't have to necessarily do trying to find like a current one. I guess that's the most current one. You know, you can, you know, like this is mostly basic shapes with a few like custom extrudes, and a lot of copy pasting and a lot of I don't even have the tiles on there yet. A lot of just basic stuff. Okay, but you gotta mimic the architecture that you're trying to do. Anyways, back to the vase. So let's make a material. I'm not going to guarantee that these are going to look perfect, but I went on the internet. Excuse me. And I looked up Greek 3D vase textures. And, you know, it finds a lot of Greek vases. They always have people running around and like naked. And so it's like in the nice little like patterns like that. Here's one that somebody's making a mesh for, but I think I found some patterns and trying to find the ones that I found earlier. There we go. So there's like some seamless stuff in there that you can grab. So I snagged a couple of those. We'll see if it looks crappy or not. We'll make a couple of textures. All right, but we're doing handles right now. So handle, you go to your pen tool and you can just turn off the lathe if you want. Just do one handle. We'll copy paste it. So you're going to want to start it probably inside of the thickness of the vase rather than resting on it, I would advise, like barely. And then we gotta clean that up because I did a crappy job. You can select multiple points at the same time if you're like, uh-oh, I have it like too close or something. Like I said, it's very unforgiving of creases, so you really have to take your time and make your curves just right. Now a sweep is like a slide. It is just, that's the shape, it's a tube. But what kind of tube? Is it going to be a squarish tube, a circle tube, a roundish pill-shaped tube, like, you know, most coffee cup handles are kind of oval or pill-shaped, if you look at the profile. But I'm going to use a rectangle, and you don't want to make it here in this view, otherwise it'll be flat as a ribbon. You want to make the handle in your 3D perspective view, or the part that you're going to slide along. And then you have to go over to your attributes with width and height and alter that. This doesn't have to be on the handle, it just needs to be nearby. So I'm going to do like 20 by 40. Let's do 15 by 30. And the cool thing about rectangles is you can go to rounding, and then you have that pill shape or capsule shape, and that's what will slide along my handle. You can even put a cap on it too. But a sweep is different from an extrude or a lathe. It takes 2 splines, only 2. It's not like a loft. A loft is like you're creating like a boat's frame, and then you skin it like a skeletal structure or whatever. We'll use that maybe later when we do Halloween or a scarecrow or something. But when we do the sweep, we drag the spline into the sweep, and then the thing's sliding along it to give it its tube shape. All right. And you can see where my crease is up there, and also my thing is a little bit too thick. I don't want it that thick, so I'm just trying to find a range up here, maybe 5 by 10. No, that's too skinny now. Maybe 8 by 15. That looks good. And then you can round it a little bit more. You could go to the sweep and go to this is how we made the dinosaur, if you remember. We can like make parts skinnier or fatter, and you can play with this graph here and make parts like chunkier, skinnier, fatter, or whatever. You can twist it. So if you wanted a twisted, you know, like wrought iron, twisted wrought iron, you could do a lot of cool stuff over here with this junk. But we're not doing that. So let's put it back to normal. Notice that I made the width and the height of the rectangle. I made the width smaller than the height. It kind of reverses those two. You know, normally you'd think of, you know, that this would be the width, and then, you know, that would be, but it doesn't do that, so you kind of have to reverse those. Okay, and then you also have a plane that you do it on. If you do it in your side view, you shouldn't have a problem with that. So let's turn on our lathe, and then I want to take the spline, and I want to, like, usually these are attached, so I need to move some of these closer to the edge. We'll see how that looks. Yeah, that's typically how it would look. I think my handle's too skinny though. So I'm going to go to that sweep, and I'm going to undo. You can just delete those points and it goes back to normal. And I'm going to go to the spline. Just check that real quick. The rectangle. Check that real quick. The sweep. Just checking that real quick. Okay, sorry about that. The spline, you have what are called intermediate points, and usually, like, if you put it on uniform, these things will usually look a little bit better. All right, and let's fix the rectangle. Just gonna kind of click on it until I get it the thickness and width that I want it. So I have to kind of go with the custom under there. The sweep also has caps. You can put the start and the end on like a fillet cap. It will increase the radius, but what it does is it smooths off, or tries to, the end pieces, so they're not so crispy. You have to kind of give them steps. And try to find a balance where it doesn't really make it too much bigger. And if it does, you could always go to the rectangle and play with that. You know, there's different looks, or I'm just going to put it back the way it was. All right, to get the opposite side for the vase, there's two ways of doing it. You can copy paste it and then just spin it around on the H-axis down there, 180 or 90, sorry. Oh, one last thing. When you're fooling around with the pen tools and stuff, they'll automatically go to your points tool. You gotta go back to your modeling tool when you're done. But let's say on the H, I could go negative 90. No, it's 180, sorry. Negative 180. And then I could just kind of, get the other side there going. Or one thing that you could do is you could try symmetry. And then just figure out, like, the symmetries. We'll move this apart so you can see it. The symmetries mirror plane. Okay, and then you have to move the original, and the mirror will magically go with it. All right, so Greek vases were often shiny and black with gold. And so we'll keep on reflection, and we'll go, we could go to the specular and, make it a little bit more glossy. Metal. I just fool around with it until you get it the way you like it. Don't want any bump out. See how that looks. That looks pretty Greekish. Let's also turn this into a mesh. So we'll select the whole thing. Actually, let's just do the lathe first. We'll go to the lathe first, and we'll do current state to object, and then delete the original. And then that way we could go to our polygons tool and our black arrow, and you might want to do a rectangular selection or a loop selection. And we need to make this other material though. So we're going to go to color, we're going to click on the texture button, and go get an image. Get something Greeky. I guess that one. It looks like it's tileable. Tileable means it'll just keep repeating. You can't tell where the edge is. For instance, when I get that, you can see like this foot continues where that foot leaves off, and the hand, and then the patterns kind of like end and begin, stuff like that. I don't know if I should make this one shiny. I guess we could. All right. Oopsie. Is that the one? I don't know why I got rid of my texture. Oh, the color. Huh. That image isn't showing up for some reason. If you, JPEGs are cool, TIFFs are cool. Looks like I grabbed these web, these web P files are crap. They won't work. Have to convert them. I'm not sure why my picture is not showing up. Might be because of my reflectance. Let's take that off. Oh, did I don't know what I did. Okay, we'll go to color and get that picture again. I screwed up something. It's early. And then turn on reflectance. Oh, I don't know. For some reason, reflectance is getting rid of my image. Not sure why. Shouldn't be doing that, but let's see if we can put it on. Let's see if we can put it on the image. That well. There we go. So yeah, I just had to bring the image into reflectance. Usually doesn't need that, but I don't know. Maybe it's been a while since I did this one. For the type, I would put it on like legacy, and you can fool around with however reflective you want to get it. Anyways, why did I do that? Kind of getting a weird. Oh, I see what I did. They're both the same, so I was actually screwing around on the second material. Sorry. And then actually I like that one kind of better. Let's keep that one. And then on the other one, I'll get rid of the image. Alright. So Oh, I forgot I took it off of black. There we go. All right, that's good ebony black, shiny ceramic-y. Sorry, I confused myself because I had two of the same texture. Now on the lathe, we want to go and, like I said, do a box selection. You can turn off the sweep and the symmetry and all that if it bothers you, but just go down to like a side view where it'll limit it, and you can kind of like grab an area and then go set that as a selection. We'll call it Greek. And then, I thought I totally said geek. And then I'm going to tell that texture to go to where it says selection Greek. So you got to name it and then tell selection where to go. And then we'll go here and we'll take a look at what we've done. Now, I need some light, so we'll just make a sky object. We'll put a sky material on it just so we have some contrast and reflections. All right, so too dark, also the way it's painting on there. You have to go to projection and we'll change it to something else like cylindrical. And there it is. My reflection's awful though. So let's go to that and just turn that off. And that way it won't be a pain in the ass. I mean, I could get it. I kind of wanted the black of the figures to be a little bit shiny and the other part to be plain, but I don't know. Do we have time for that, really? Turn back on the sweep, and then there is my Greekish vase. Now, I typically wouldn't have this huge stem on, but I did that just as a review. Now, remember, with the sweep, if the further you move that, oh, I don't have it anymore, but with the lathe, the further you move that spline away from the y-axis, the bigger the problem you're going to have. So when I did that little architecture thing the other day, so I, did that, like if you were doing like a fancy edge to a building, like the Parthenon, or I don't know, something like that, you can go ahead and lathe it really quick, and you have a cool shape and all, but that was a pedestal for a bust or a statue or something. But with architecture, what's cool is you could go to the lathe and tell it to be four-sided, like so, and then when you move the spline away from the y-axis, starts getting twisty. But if you move the if you rotate the whole thing, sorry, I didn't mean to go there. And you go to your spline. You know what I have to do to this spline is I'm going to convert it. Current state to object. And then I should be able to move the axes now with the axes tool. And then it's not perfectly straight, but you'll get the idea. And I could open it up too. So I could go to the spline and just kind of winging it right here. move that. I just even delete it. And then the whole thing will be open. And what's good about that is, let's fix the axis a little bit better. You can stretch it apart. I just have to rotate it to fix the angle there. And create, like, you know, the tops of buildings that you would put columns underneath, and then you can do some bas relief sculptures, or, you know, like I showed in the other lesson, to decorate that. All kinds of different little tricks you can do with lathes. Make a nice picture frame. Anyways, that's it.